So, guys, we have a guest, and this is our guest, Mr. Varun Aaron, the guy with the possibly the only fast bowler in the world with pretty toes.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
When I said it, you looked.
Looks like both of you guys have a feet fetish.
No,
we might have one, but that's not. But you know what I'm talking about. Most fast bowlers, they just have like gnarled stubs on their feet, and you still have your toes in working order, and you have your toenails.
Yeah, you have your toenails.
There's one toe which can't really bend because it's broken a few times. But other than that, I mean, I think I've done a decent job maintaining them.
Yeah.
It looks fine from outside, but only I know what's happening inside. It's pretty much like the rest of my body. Everything looks fine from the outside, but on the inside there are like few bones floating around here and there.
I'll tell you what, I love this guy. So we're neighbors, right, in Bangalore. And I've seen this guy's work ethic. He's got one of the strongest work ethics I've seen a fast bowler have. Super disciplined and does it like, this is just my life right now. And he, like, even now, I've seen him put in years of work into his bowling and pushed back by injuries and all of that stuff. But today, just where he is in his life, I'm so happy for him, because sometimes you put in a lot of work and you don't see it resulting to something. But today, like, I feel like all the work that he's put in, all the discipline, all the efforts that he's put into his bowling, his cricket and all that is showing results now, albeit outside of the sport itself in the sense, but still connected very much within the sport, whether it's broadcasting, whether it's coaching gigs that's coming his way right now. And that's something I truly believe, that you put in the effort and you don't worry about when the results show, because they will show. They will show, and they will come. And for me, this guy is an absolute testimony of that. I'm so happy for him, man.
Thank you.
But tell us about this new gig that you got, dude. This is so exciting.
We're not breaking news here. People know about this.
Yeah. People know about it. I mean, I think the team's done an official statement as well. So yeah, I'm going to be coaching the Sunrisers. Their bowling coach. Really excited, and looking forward to the role, because again, it's with Dan. Dan's the head coach. Obviously, everybody knows that. Worked really closely with him when I was playing for RCB for 3 years. Really, really good guy. One of the better coaches in world cricket.
He would have been. He was the head coach when you were at RCB.
No. He was. He was head coach for all 3 years. Yes, absolutely. And we just got along really well at RCB, and I'm glad to join forces with him and hopefully take SRH to a trophy.
So this is a slightly controversial theory. Morne Morkel, Steve Harmison, yourself, you're naturally gifted fast bowlers. That part of the reason that you got to the level you did is because of how fast you bowl, right? If you compare that to, say, I don't know, Lennon Philander, right, who is all about skills. And so in my mind, when I was growing up, I was like, why would you get Morne Morkel to be a bowling coach, right? Because he's 7 foot tall and he bowls at 90 miles an hour. But what I've worked out over the last few years is the guys like you who are pushed through the system really early on because you can bowl fast have to then really learn the technical stuff later on. So it's not natural for you to learn the technical stuff, which probably makes you a better coach because you had to learn it. Is that fair? Have I made that theory up? But do you understand where I'm going with it?
Yeah, I get where you're going with it, but in my case, it was very, very different because I got into the technical stuff too early.
Oh, really?
As a 14-year-old.
He's probably one of the few fast bowlers with brains. In fact,
whoa, you can't just say
I keep telling him that he's got too much brains for a fast bowler. Like, listen.
That explains the thing.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it does. It makes sense to me.
You guys. Jesus, the theories.
Anyway, thanks for coming.
Because this guy, his just fast bowling acumen as far as technique is concerned and all of that, he's got too much information. Like, to bowl fast, right, and to do it repeatedly, it is the hardest skill to execute in cricket, according to me, because your body is battered, right? If there's anyone who's bowled fast at a semi-professional level and played a 4-day game or a 3-day game or a 2-day game, and they've bowled after a while, when you can feel every fiber of every muscle in your body the next day after bowling that first day. If you bowl 15 overs, you know what the next day feels like. And these guys, for them to have to do it over and over and over again, you have to switch off at some level.
Yeah.
And this fellow doesn't. Like, he's in there 24/7.
No, but the thing is, I didn't have a choice, to be very honest. So I
can't bat.
No. I could bat. Man, you know what? Before I had a back surgery, my average. And you're the numbers guy. Maybe you can.
You want me to go back and have a look?
Yeah, you can go back and have a look. Before I had a back surgery in 2013, my average in Ranji Trophy and List A cricket was above 20. The moment I had a back surgery, I had nothing to do. I thought, okay, I made the same mistake every fast bowler does. They think, or we think, we can improve our batting, and we get.
He got really technical.
Got really technical, and that just messed me up. And I couldn't see the ball out of the bowler's hands. I would get bowled for fun. So yeah, but coming back to what you were asking me was, the thing is, I didn't have a choice because. Number one, I went to I got selected for the MRF Pace Foundation when I was 14 years old. And that was the first year of like formal cricket, like state cricket. And I was thrown into an academy which was very, very technical. And with Dennis Lilly, obviously one of the greatest fast bowling coaches that has ever been, very into, way ahead of his time with biomechanics and stuff like that.
He basically invented all that stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. So I was exposed to that environment when I was very young. And over the years, I had a lot of stress fractures. I had 8 stress fractures, and it was a combination. Like people, what I learned through all of these stress fractures, and obviously a lot of muscle tears on the way, tendon issues, and name it. All right, it wasn't the most pleasant. If I look back, it wasn't the most pleasant journey, but I learned a lot from it, and I really enjoyed it, irrespective of the injuries. I had to reinvent myself every time I came back because I was, yes, I was gifted to bowl fast, but I had a lot of physiological restrictions which I was born with. For example, my right shoulder, like my right clavicle, my right shoulder bone is 2 centimeters shorter than my left. So yeah, so if I lift both my hands up, I never achieve full range with my right shoulder. I can achieve full range with my left shoulder.
Why didn't you bowl with your left?
Yeah, good question. Maybe my dad should have been an orthopedic surgeon. He could have told me when I was a kid. But so just stuff like that. So for example, for me to attain an optimal bowling position, I had to laterally flex way more than say a Robin would to be able to bowl straight from the optimal bowling position. So that put a lot of strain on my back. Then I have something called lordosis. So lordosis is like everybody has a curve in their back.
Yeah.
My curve is exaggerated and it hinges on my L3. So that just puts a lot of pressure just on one vertebrae. So I just fractured that about 3 times. So physiologically, I wasn't gifted to bowl fast. Obviously, throughout my career, a lot of people were like, why don't you just slow down a little bit and just...
That you couldn't do.
That I didn't want to do because bowling fast gave me joy.
Like, That's such a great line.
Yeah, I like cricket, but I love fast bowling. You know, like just seeing a stump cartwheeling, hitting a batsman, or just I swear.
Do you remember the first time you realized you were quick? Like, and what? Like, do you remember like the look of the batter at the other end, or was it a kid or an adult or whatever? When you suddenly like, oh, I can terrify people here.
It was by mistake how I became a fast bowler, to be honest. So in coaching camps, like you have to be. Everybody wants to bat in India. India
I've been there.
We have quite a few people in India.
Yeah.
And everybody who comes to a coaching academy just wants to bat because it's the easiest job. Batting. And I'm just joking.
Sorry. I mean, it is.
Yeah. So the thing was, my mom had a pact with me. She was like, if you don't do well in studies, you're not going for practice. All right. This is when I was 12. So I came like 15th or 16th in class once, and she was very disappointed with my results. She was like, if you don't show me better results next term, you're not going for practice. So 3 months I didn't go for practice. Somehow managed to do better in the next semester. She sent me for practice again. The coach looked at me and he's like, where were you? You're not batting for the next 1 week. You're just bowling. So I was really angry, first of all, that he's not going to give me batting for the next 1 week. And I never bowled much till then. And I started bowling and I was bowling really quick. I was hitting a few like senior batsmen. And guys were like, dude, why are you giving under 14 trials as a batsman? Why don't you just go give your trials as a bowler, And then the next day I gave my trials as a bowler, got selected, and then just kept on being a fast bowler. That's how I became a fast bowler.
But did you realize because you don't know how fast you are, right? Like, as in, you've never faced yourself. We know how fast you are, but we've seen the science now, but you don't know. So is there a moment where you're bowling when you're 14 and you're like, this guy doesn't want to face me? Like, is that, like, is there a psychological switch where you become a fast bowler in mentality?
Yeah, it was actually in my first under 15 tournament. I mean, I hit a few guys, they got seriously injured, and to be honest,
Thoughts and prayers.
No, the thing is, I was actually 14. There are some kids who are not 14 and playing under 15, which is
no names.
Which is no names. Yeah, and I was actually heaps of them.
Yeah,
and I was actually 14. So there was, and back then there used to be a lot of talent research development officers from BCCI who used to spot talent from under 15s, under 17s, which I don't think they have now, but back then it was very prevalent.
Yeah, it's defunct now.
Yeah.
The TRDO system, it was called.
Exactly. So one of them referred me to the MRF Pace Foundation. That's how I got in. And then when I landed up there for trials, everybody, so there was, like, for example, Manpreet Goni. So I was 14 years old. Manpreet Goni was obviously 18 plus. He was,
and he's a big dude, isn't he?
Yeah, and I was much shorter than I am now. I would have been like 5'7" because I still had few years to grow. And I was looking at these guys and I was like, I'm not getting selected here because these guys are massive. They're units. But turned out I was bowling really fast. I mean, I could, and that's why Dennis and T.A. Shaker back then, they picked me, and then that just, to be honest, just speaking to Dennis and just getting so much information off him, mostly about work ethics when I was 14 at a very impressionable age, I would say paved my journey. But then again, there's a flip side to technique as well. When you get involved with technique so early, and now as a coach, I really don't think kids should get so hung up with technique when they're young, because the less information, the better. And I think coaching is all about the coach having the information and translating that information in a very subconscious way to the player, so that the player's not thinking about it, but he's actually doing it. But you have the information and you have all the knowledge of the technique to enable players to get better without having to think too much about what they're doing when they're in the moment. Because, to be honest, in a game, you're not thinking about technique.
Yeah,
that's what we were talking about before, the subconscious.
Yeah. So which is what I was telling you, right? When I said there were levels to this, at a 12-year-old, when you're building muscle memory, what we're trying to do is we're trying to instill that technique subconsciously.
Yeah.
Where you're saying, okay, we want you to play this shot for the next 200 balls. So just do that. Just keep doing that. So we're subconsciously building muscle memory, and we're not teaching them technique, but we're familiarizing them with what it feels like, right? And then by nature of doing that, we're teaching them technique.
Yeah.
That's based on their own and their own biomechanical skills. And that's why, as I said, with coaches at different levels, then there are different ways of operating, right? At a younger age, you don't want them to think about technique too much. You want them to build that muscle memory by making them do things that are not technically driven in that sense.
Yeah.
You say, okay, I'm putting 2 cones here. I want you to hit the ball only here. And I want you to hit the ball along the ground. It has to hit the ground first and then hit the net on a bounce, right? So you make them do just that one thing. And by virtue of doing that, you're teaching them a skill, a technique that's based on their own technical ability, right? So they make the adjustment to make that happen for themselves. And then you're just repeating that thing and building that muscle memory. But at the next level, say between ages 15 and 17, you're doing it, but a little bit more intentionally. Like, okay, so be aware how you're holding the mat. Okay, I want you to hit the same shot. It has to hit the ground and hit the net. Now I want you to understand, while you're doing that, what feels best for you. And then I want you to communicate to me what feels best for you. And then we'll try and repeat that and get into the depths of that particular shot. So I think, and that's exactly how you'd want to go, where at a younger age, you don't want to focus too much on technique, but as you grow older, you want to familiarize them with their own technique.
Yeah.
So that they know their game inside out.
So you think you were dropped in too much with technique?
No, I mean, I don't regret it now, because now that
now you're a coach.
Yeah. So now that's enabled me with knowledge, which I didn't have to go to school to learn. It's in my subconscious, So I feel with fast bowling coaching especially, there's so much momentum involved. There's so many different movements involved. More than anything, you have to be able to analyze movement, rather than fast bowling. You know? Because if you can understand movement and if you have a basic understanding of physics, you can really coach anybody, even a novice or a professional. Because at the end of the day, it's all about generating force towards the target, and it's all about you as a coach streamlining that individual to be as efficient as possible towards the target. So there are so many different ways to skin a cat. You can be technical, you can be non-technical. But at the end of the day, I feel as a coach, if you're dealing with a player, you should have every answer the player needs from you. And through my journey, I felt a lot of coaches maybe didn't have answers or would be like, just do your thing and you'll eventually get there. Which is not the way I would want to coach somebody, you know, because the whole reason you have a professor in college is because the professor knows more than you at that point, and he or she can teach you that. So yeah, I mean, just to give you an example of subconscious. So I've had two coaches, Dennis Lilly and T.A. Shekhar, and Subroto Banerjee. T.A. Shekhar also was there at the beginning, but it was Dennis Lilly and Subroto Banerjee. Subroto Banerjee is the current Indian selector. According to me, one of the best coaches in the world, fast bowling coaches. Makes things so simple. So when I was the first time I played for Durham, I realized that in England you can't just. So I hit the deck. I don't float the ball up.
Yeah.
And in England you need, like, if you're getting the ball to go away, you have to really like float it up a little bit, which I find difficult with my setup. The second time I was playing for Leicester, I told Subroto Banerjee, who was my coach, that, you know what, I really need to bowl in swing, because outswing, I'm going to have to bowl too many overs, you know. So I'd rather get guys out soon, you know.
If I could just bowl them out quickly, I don't have to bowl for as long.
So he's like, yeah, no worries. All right. So he came over to Bangalore for a couple of sessions. He rocks up and he was like, I was like, okay, how do I do this? He's like, why don't you pull your right pocket out? Okay. I was like, what? I was like, but he's my coach, and I blindly trust him. I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. So pull my right pocket out. He's like, hold a grip for in swing. Just when you're getting your arm down, make sure you flick that pocket which is out. All right. Now, this is the highest form of subconscious coaching. Okay. So now all I had to do as a fast bowler was just flick that pocket. Now what that does is, just because I'm flicking the pocket, it's going to get my arm in a much straighter position than being outside. And immediately the first ball goes whoop in.
That's like Mr. Miyagi, the Karate Kid.
I literally, from my follow-through, went and just put a straight dive onto his feet. And I was like, wow. then crazy. And then I came back, second game for Leicester, got a 7 for, and that was the first game they won in 22 or 23 games, and which was just, and with the whole county, like, it was great fun.
Yeah.
And that was just because Subroto Banerjee, and all my wickets were in swing. Okay. All my wickets were in swing, and it happened just with one ball. And I really feel that if you can understand movement, if you can understand the individual you're coaching, I think you can make a difference or give that person what they want within the first 3 to 6 balls of them understanding you. And there have been instances in my life where coaches have told me, okay, this is not working, let's try this. And I've been doing it for 2, 3, 4 months, you know. But if I teach you to eat with your left hand, you'll eventually learn in 3, 4 months. But that's not the right thing for you, right? You got to do what works for you. And if something works for you with your mechanics, it will work in the first 3 to 6 balls. It shouldn't take long.
But again, I agree with you, but but don't you think this works more at an elite level than at an intermediate or an amateur level?
No, I don't think so. I think it works at any level. Again, the catch is...
So he believes it's 3 balls and you believe it's 3 months.
Yeah, because I think I'm thinking from the perspective of, I'm building kids up, right?
Yeah.
I'm building, and you're developing technique, right? You're developing muscle memory, right? For me, I feel the 2 reasons why he got it in the first 3 balls, and I think that's, and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
One is the absolute faith and trust you had in Subu.
Yeah.
I think that was one.
Yeah.
You knew that he was there to serve you, and there's a bond, and there's a connection, and there's faith, and there's trust in that relationship. So he asked you to do something. Otherwise, if I tell you put your pocket out and flick it on the way out, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Is what you'll say to me, right? Because as far as coaching is concerned, we don't have that trust is not there. It hasn't been built over time.
Yeah.
That bond with Subu was built over time for you, right? Yeah. And so there's an immense amount of faith that you had in him. So when he said, just do something like this, like Mr. Miyagi, you're like, okay, I'll do it. And then it happened and you're like, dude, you are amazing, right? And you figured it out because there's a level of operation that you existed from, an awareness that you existed from, that made you feel like, oh, I know exactly how to do this.
There's also like, it has to be something to do with his athleticism. Because you might get another kid to do that and they fall over. Right? Like, or they whack themselves in the leg.
I get what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is, I'll streamline what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that they will become masters of it in 3 or 6 balls. All right. The thing is, for example, now there's a kid who's
they'll understand the concept in 3 or 6 balls.
They'll see a result. So, for example, there was say there's a kid who's bowling in swing, and you as a coach, you feel what, his action is perfect for outswing. I'm just going to give him a suggestion and tell him that it's going to work for you. You know, and when you do that, somebody who's never bowled an outswing and who's only bowling in swing with an outswing as action, you give him that suggestion, it works in the first 3 balls, and he bowls an outswing, he just looks at you like, wow, and that's what you want. But it doesn't mean he's going to become a master of that. But at least because as a cricketer, everybody puts a lot of restrictions on themselves. We feel at some point in our careers, everybody has done this, that we cannot do this. If somebody comes around and just shows you a way to do it, even for that one ball, you start believing that, oh my God, I can do that. And that belief, that confidence is what grows your skill. So I am by no means saying, I get what you're coming at. And that's why I say even it can happen with a novice, with an amateur or anything. It's about understanding movement. I am not saying that they're going to become a master of it, but they can execute it. And the moment they execute it, they start believing that I can do that. Because there have been so many people along everybody's career telling them that you cannot do this. And then again, you're talking about relationship. Again, I feel it's a very important part of coaching to have a good relationship with whoever you're coaching. And because you want the kid or the player to feel that you want to contribute to them, and not you want to contribute to yourself. Because sometimes coaching come from a place, oh, Jarrod, I'm gonna make sure I do something to your game, which you're gonna tell
everyone else.
That what, Varun has told me this. But sometimes Jarrod just might not need anything.
Exactly.
And you just leave him be and just give him confidence, because that's the only thing he might need. So that the relationship is number one, super important. And the other thing is, if you just can understand movement, I think it just makes it easier.
You keep saying understanding movement. You're studying sports science. Has that changed how you think about your career or your cricket?
No, I honestly feel that I've, again, being exposed to sports science since I was 14 years old. Like, I came to Loughborough University, did a full biomechanics analysis when I was 17. So I've been subconsciously studying it for almost, I'm 35 now, like the past.
Most of
my life, So I had that understanding. I just wanted to formalize that understanding with a degree. I wasn't studying, now obviously I have more theoretic knowledge of, say, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and stuff like that, which I can maybe have more in-depth conversations with a physio or a trainer about that kind of stuff. But when it comes to biomechanics, it was so ingrained to me at an early age. Like I've just had an understanding which I should not have had. Because for example, now if there's compare me to a guy who doesn't understand biomechanics much. If I would bowl a ball down the leg in a game, my brain would go, oh, these things are not working, so fix these things. So then the next 3 balls would just go with me trying to fix that, instead of me just trying to focus on getting the batsman out.
Have you talked to Mitchell Johnson about this?
No.
So we had this theory that Mitchell Johnson didn't understand bowling, because he was going to be a tennis player, and then he quit cricket, and then he came back, and because he would walk back to his mark, practicing his wrist position and practicing his front arm. And as a cricket writer, I'm sitting there going, this guy doesn't know how to bowl. Like, what's wrong with him? And then you talk to Mitchell Johnson, and it's the opposite. He knew,
he worked too much.
Yeah, and he worked with Dennis Lilly as well, right? And he was so focused on that.
With him, that was also his perennial problem, I think. Like he wouldn't trust a physio. because he had so much knowledge about his own body, about just the biomechanics and about his own body.
I would flip that around and say, I would want the physio to trust me.
Yeah.
Why don't physios trust? I have a degree in me.
Yeah. So like you'd be like you'd go like generally when you go to a physio, you know, you understand your body, but you also put faith in the physio that you picked, right? So we're like, no, bro, I think this is what we should do. I think this is what the regimen should be. You're like, bro, stop thinking a bit.
No, but if you go to see, if it wasn't that for that knowledge, it's a double-edged sword. I agree. But if it wasn't for that knowledge, I wouldn't have played 20 years of cricket. Because I would have practically retired when I was 24 or 25 because my back just was not holding up. I had to remodel myself after that surgery, which I had in 2013. You know, I did it myself because nobody was able to give me answers of how I can reduce the load on my back. So with all that knowledge, I was able to remodel myself. I got injured in the first series I played for India. I had a great debut in my one days and my first test match. And then I got injured, missed the tour to Australia. I was dejected. Then I missed 2 years of cricket. I was out for two and a half years actually. I had stress fracture in rehab. All right. And then finally, I was like, you know what? Nothing's working. I'm going to sort myself out. I made a slight adjustment to my action with all the knowledge I had. What I initially started off my career as a fast bowler being semi-open, which is just for somebody who doesn't understand semi-open, is when my back foot is facing fine leg, between fine leg to square leg, all right? That's semi-open. So over the years, I don't know.
Back foot when it lands.
When it lands, yeah. Back foot when it lands. Over the years, due to a few technical changes, I went to past front on, all right? So that's now my back foot from going to facing fine leg, it's facing first slip.
Third man even sometimes.
Yeah. So now I would, if you just try to stand past front on, you can't stand past front on. Yeah. And I was bowling like a 145, 150 past front on. So the moment I would land, my entire body was going that way because obviously I was not able to maintain that much balance, but I had a very strong core. And I was just strong in general because of all the years of training. So I could hold body position, but for holding that body position, my body was compensating like all over the shop, you know, just to hold that body position. So, and I wasn't able to change that. And then I realized, you know what, I have to let my body do what comes naturally to it. So one day, I just took a really good friend of mine to the NCA Indos. And I told him, dude, just film me, you know. I'm just going to do all sorts and I'm just going to see what feels comfortable. And then I'm going to see the video, you know. So I just started to do weird stuff, just did whatever came to me. And then after 15, 20 minutes, something felt really, really good, you know. And I saw my video and automatically, if you just let your body do, like just put your mind in neutral. Put your mind in neutral and just take over and do what you feel like. Don't do what you've been coached, you know. Your body eventually does what it knows best. My foot went back to semi-open. That was because I had a really short load. Automatically, without me knowing, I've gone and taken a longer load that's given me more time to open up my back foot, you know. And I did that and I grooved that for the next 6-8 months, finally played Ranji Trophy, had a good Ranji Trophy season, got back to India. So I had to remodel myself, I had to dig deep, I needed a very in-depth knowledge of my body, of my muscles. I literally know every muscle group, every bone in my body, because now I go to a physio and tell him that, dude, just release my psoas. I don't want to be like my stomach is tight, you know. That's the difference. So that helped me a lot. And that's why I outlasted some of my state mates by about a year and a half, 2, and I could have never imagined that. That's because of one, and I feel every fast bowler has to have a really good work ethic. You have to have an understanding of your body, and if you have a coach who has the understanding of bowling and who can make it really simple for you, I think that's great. Because the last thing I want to add is most of the great bowlers, I would say all the great bowlers, the top 5 or 10 fast bowlers,
which is, in your order, go?
No. Finished their career with the same or similar action they started their career with.
Okay.
You would not see them chop and change too much. Yes, over the years, everybody gets a bit more streamlined because they understand it's important to get your forces towards the batsman. But other than that, you will not see too many people change their actions too much. It's all about just doing what your body knows best. Maybe a small tweak here and there, and about getting fitter.
Yeah. And see, again, I just want to come back to the point of where you saying I grooved it for a bit, right? And that's the muscle memory bit where we were alluding to earlier, right? Yes, you get a concept in the first 3 to 6 balls, but to ingrain that into yourself and to kind of master it to a certain degree that you want to, that gives you the confidence to execute in the match, it takes time. There's no shortcut to that. Building muscle memory takes a while, but dude, fantastic, man. I love the way you kind of broken this down and made it so
it's good
simple.
that we finally got a bowler on it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So our first guest on KimAppa, right? Well done.
First guest on KimAppa, well done.
I've been seeing you guys. I really enjoy what you guys do.
Can you put your feet up?
Yeah, can you show them your feet like that? No.
The other way.
Yeah, the other way.
Okay, I'll show it this camera.
Now he's gonna break it. That's how we injure him forever. Is him trying to show his feet. Thanks so much for being on, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah.